Yo, Darren, we've got another great episode today. We have a wonderful singer-songwriter joining us for this episode. Darren, why don't you go ahead and introduce her?
Yes, we do. This is our second interview, so we are straight-up professionals, hardcore pros in the art of interviews. So we're very lucky to have in studio someone who I've met a few times. I've seen her sing multiple times. Fallon Franklin, a singer-songwriter from right here in Central Texas. Say hello, Fallon.
Hey, what's up, guys?
I really should have played the applause noise. It's like super loud. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Fallon.
Thanks for having me.
And I am a songwriter myself, so always close to my heart. I'm excited to talk to you about your process, your songs,
excited to be here.
and your music. Absolutely.
So, Fallon, we got a lot of things to talk to you about today. But for those people that don't know your music, tell us about your type of music. They go see a show of you locally, which you should all do. What are they going to see when they come out to see Fallon Franklin? The experience.
the Fallon Franklin experience.
Sounds good. It sounds
yeah,
I
right?
love it.
It sounds cool. I might be using that.
Yeah.
A little psychedelic poster and whatnot.
Yes.
I play about 4 or 5 shows a week, and a lot of the places I play, I'll do a lot of cover stuff of all genres. I'll be doing like Blackstreet and then James Taylor. It's crazy. And then I throw in, a bunch of my original stuff too. So I do a lot of family places and stuff like that now that I've got kids and I'm older. So.
I'm always curious by working professionals who do live shows. Do you feel compelled to do a certain amount of covers because people recognize the song?
It depends on the show, really. I mean, if I play a place that I'm really just background music, then no one wants to hear, sad
Your originals.
acoustic stuff. But then I'll play places, like there's been a few shows lately where people are like, okay, well, that was a great Michael Jackson cover. Now, can you play blah, blah, blah? And they know my song. And I'm like, oh, that's
Wow,
great.
that's
It makes me
awesome.
happy.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's always like a diamond in the rough kind of thing when there's a show like that. But
I think it's important too, as an artist, and you learn that. I think many musicians learn that at a younger age, that you're trying to, build people into your music, and when you give somebody something they know,
yeah.
then they have a chance
100%.
to reciprocate.
Yeah, and it also
Absolutely.
depends on the venue. I mean, there's some venues I play where they're like, can you just do all country? Or can
Right.
you do all like mixture classic rock? Or some
Right.
places are like, you do more modern stuff? So
I hope
Right.
they tell you that well before in advance. They don't spring that on you when you walk through the door.
some have.
Yeah, yeah.
Some have.
Yeah, definitely.
I've got 9 notebooks.
Yeah.
Full of music. So whenever people see me hauling them out, they're like, oh, Lord, what's about to
I
happen?
think we might have to start doing an iPad giveaway, Darren, once a year
Yes,
to our
you-
musicians that we have interviews for.
yeah.
And I will set everybody up on an
So
iPad.
That would, hey, I'll be
the
there.
best.
You know what's funny is that I gave Fallon a list of interview questions ahead of time. I told her, I said, it could be the case we don't get to any of the questions
Yeah.
on there. But I've always wanted to ask this because we've been acquaintances for a couple of years now. And every time I see you do have an old school way of cataloging your with the giant 3-ring binders.
Everyone makes fun of me. And it
It
says
looks like
crutch
a-
on the outside.
When you're a young
great.
person, you obviously know about technology. What's the story behind all the binders?
So I think it's more of like I tried using the iPad whenever I was doing like keyboard stuff with full band.
Right.
And there would always be some kind of technical issue where it wouldn't flip over. And I know that there's something you can do that flips because I mean, a lot of the songs I do are like 4 pages long. And so I just felt, I don't know.
It just wasn't
It scared
transitioning
me. Yeah, it
smoothly.
scared me. It made me more
Yeah.
nervous. But I've heard that there's a lot better programs now. So it's way better to do the
There's
iPad.
something endearing about it though.
I agree.
I'm old school. I still have CDs in my car. So
Yeah.
I still make mix CDs.
I love it.
Yeah.
I found like a box of my old mix CDs that my wife really considers herself a playlister, and she's actually fantastic at it. But we found like an old box of mix CDs. It really throws you back.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yes, I'm
Mix
actually.
CDs.
I'll
You
save
make
this for
her
later,
like a
but I want to know
mixtape.
like who are the artists. Actually, just tell me now. A couple artists on a couple of your favorite mix CDs. Got any ideas?
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've got some. I always have Counting Crows, and all my.
Nice.
That's my favorite band of
Nice.
all time. I do a lot of like Patty Griffin, mixed CDs. I always have 90s stuff. 90s grunge.
Nice.
Oh yeah, some Pearl Jam, give me some Black, whatever. Yeah.
I love it. Man. It's always tough when I ask people to, like, even if I'm at a show and I'm like, what songs do you want to hear? Everybody does the same thing. They're
Yeah.
like, wait, what music do I listen to?
Yeah.
Anyways, moving forward, Darren, I think you
It's
got
like when
the-
someone tries to stump me. That's always makes me.
Oh, they
happy.
get
They're
me.
like Motley Crue, and I'm like, all right.
Fine.
And then like yeah,
Really?
can
That's
do.
awesome.
you gotta have stuff in your back pocket.
I can't see you. You don't scream those songs, do you?
I do like Sweet Child of Mine, Guns N' Roses, and I try to do the yell.
Sweet.
But
I'd love to hear it.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
Fallon, tell people how you got started in music. Where did you grow up? Give us your whole Genesis backstory.
Well, my whole family, they're all musicians. There's no singers really, but my on both sides, my granddad was actually Willie Nelson's manager for years back in the far distant past.
Nice.
And then my cousin's Freddie Powers. He played guitar and wrote a bunch of songs with Merle Haggard. And then my dad's side, they're all like bluegrass, fiddle, Texas swing. All of them are fiddle players.
So you're music royalty. We didn't realize that we were sitting in music royalty here.
I do stuff, but I mean, all of them are like, they were awesome. But I'm not the musician out of all of them. They're very good at what they do.
Well, you're a singer. You're a singer.
I'm a singer-songwriter,
and I've
for
heard
sure.
some of your
That
picking
is
too.
That
which
is a musician.
yeah,
though. A singer-songwriter, right?
I get what you're saying.
I'm not
but I also,
soloing or nothing.
I also
yeah.
agree
You're
too.
saying
You're
that you're not a
finger picking.
virtuoso as an instrumentalist. right?
Yes,
What-
yes.
Right.
I'm not an instrument. That's what I was trying to say. Not musician, but instrumentalist.
I think crafting an original song and taking a complicated idea and making it simple and relatable is incredibly difficult.
Very difficult.
And that is a portion of musicianship 100%. And just like anything else in life, there's slices and layers to all these things. And players are amazing, and they're very technical and skilled in theory and all those wonderful things. But that's just one side of it. Yeah, you're absolutely a musician and an artist.
The times I've been on
100%.
stage with people and they've been like, okay, well, the chorus this are like 2, 4, 6, and I'm like, what is that? I'm like, I need some GCD here, or like, give me something I can go off of. But
I need alphabet letters, please.
yes,
Thank you.
right?
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I'm
Well,
not that kind of pro, but
I could talk just about that whole thing. What is an artist? What is a performer? What is a musician? But
We talk about it a
one
lot.
Of, yeah,
like
I'm one of 3 people
entertainers.
that
what's the
is-
whole thing like with intelligence? It's like, well, what do you consider
right.
intelligence?
Yeah.
It's
I
like
use
there's
that
art
analogy all the time.
intelligence, there's book
Yeah.
intelligence. There's,
Some people have
Yeah.
spatial intelligence. Some people
Yeah.
are mathematically inclined, emotional intelligence. Musicianship is no difference
Yeah.
to me. But it's all difficult. None of this is easy. I started taking lessons with Micah 4 years ago. And the very first thing he said to me, he said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to learn how to play guitar." And he said, "Oh, I don't do that." I'm like, "Well, what am I doing here?" And he said, "I'll teach you music."
Yeah,
I had no
that's
idea
what
what
I
I was
did too.
agreeing
I
to.
did voice lessons and songwriting
And I said,
lessons.
"Okay, I'll learn music." I had no idea what I was signing up for at the time. But the point of that story is that I've always had a respect for the craft, but now that I know a little bit about it, I find just how difficult taking very complicated things are and making very, very rarely is 3 chords and the truth simple. 3 chords and the truth is hard, man. Particularly if you want to create something that doesn't sound like everybody else's 3 chords and
Yeah.
the truth.
Yeah.
So that's even difficult. So that's interesting with your family, but I don't think I heard. Did you grow up in Texas?
Oh yeah, I
or
was
were you
curious.
from
I was like,
Sorry,
did
we got
I
off
did
on a
I
tangent.
did I miss it?
No,
yeah.
that's right.
I veer off the
This
highway
is
a
about
lot.
Fallon.
Yes, please.
So yeah, I grew up in the Dallas area, a really small town.
That's
I
where I'm from originally too.
really where?
Yeah, I grew up in Louisville in Highland Village, north
Yeah.
of the airport.
Because I think we originally met through my cousin. I think Blake.
No,
Y'all
I
knew
met you
somebody.
at Salt Lake when I was doing tourism marketing for Dripping Springs,
Okay.
and I took pictures of you and got permission to post them.
It's been a long time. You said 2 years. It's been like 4 or 5.
I moved from
long
North
time.
Texas
Yeah.
15 years
Extended
ago.
too.
Yeah.
So
We didn't count COVID though, so it really is only been 2
right.
years,
That's like
right?
yeah, that's
runs
the missing
together.
link there. But yeah, so I started playing shows really young. I started singing songs at church and doing little, it's the little girl that sings kind of thing. And then
What
I
was the
started
small
playing
town though?
Midlothian.
Oh yeah.
Midlothian.
That's
Midlothian.
What
on
a
the
name.
That's on the southeast side. I grew up on the northwest
Yeah.
side.
I was
Yeah,
in Southeast.
Dallas
Cool.
Fort Worth, so it's like L.A. The geography
I
of
feel
it.
like
It's
crazy.
Frodo Baggins and the hobbits might show up in Midlothian. That's awesome.
Middle of the earth.
That well,
He's
I don't
an
know
Indian
how it is today, but that was a very country rural town
Very.
when I was
It's
a kid.
crazy going back home now and seeing how things have grown up. It's nuts. But we had like one restaurant. It was the Dairy Queen when I was a kid. More cows than people kind of thing. But no, I started playing shows like coffee shops and stuff. I think I had my first like gig show where it was like a paid gig at like 12, 11, something like
Nice.
that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well,
I've
we
been
want to
doing it ever
talk.
since.
We want to talk about, at least I do, about your writing process here in a second. But before that, tell people how they find your music, how they download it, how they stream it.
Yeah. So I've got a website. It's FallonFranklin.com, the usual
Is
name.
It's Fallon.
Just like Jimmy Fallon.
Okay, Fallon, Franklin.
Like Benjamin.
With a I at the backside, right?
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And then I'm also on Facebook. I've got like 300 original songs on YouTube, all under Fallon Franklin. Instagram, Fallon Franklin.
Let's go.
Well,
so,
I noticed,
so like you would like write music, then that's a big catalog. Well done.
I write I like 2 or 3 songs a week usually.
That's fantastic. That's my favorite.
Speaking of YouTube, in my 5 minutes of preparation for this episode, I did get on YouTube last night, and it looks like you're on a run of YouTube videos in the last couple of weeks. Is that true, or has it always been that way, or do you just have an inspiration recently to put a bunch on there?
I'm a very emotional writer, and so like when things are crazy, the only thing that keeps my sanity and the only way I can like exercise the demons, so to speak, is like to write. And so I'm constantly just singing stuff into my phone, my voice memo thing. And it's been a crazy ride the last couple of years. So I'll go through stints where I'll write like 3 songs a week, and then 3 weeks I won't do anything. But if things are really heightened and emotionally things are crazy and I'm stressed, then I write a lot so I can survive.
Do you have a structure to it, or do you have more of like, I'm having this emotional catharsis or this emotional moment, I'm gonna create space to write?
I've never been able to do that, where people are like, okay, we're gonna have 2 hours today and we're gonna write. And I think it's best to do that when you're writing with someone else, but when you're just writing solo, it'll hit me at random times. Like I used to always try to like I'm like, okay, I need to write a love song for this record or whatever, and I would kind of, through the week pick out stuff and put it together. But now it's more like I do a lot of more melody first than I used to. It was just a line, and I'm like, I still do that. I mean, like that fighting feeling like home. Like as soon as my friend and I were talking back and forth, the song you played on your show, she was like, "The girl, that's a song." And I was like, "Yeah, it is." So I went home and did that. But a lot of it's now melody. Like I'll just get something in my head. I'm humming all the time. People get so annoyed with me.
I love it.
Oh my God, I hum. My dentist, he knows me as the girl that hums, apparently. He's like, oh, you're the chick that hums. And I was like, oh, that's a thing? Okay.
Well, it's about the only thing you can do at the dentist, because they talk to you the whole time. You're like, how am I supposed to respond back to you?
I drive my kids crazy, everyone crazy with the humming. So I'm always humming melodies, and I'll be like, oh, that's catchy.
Did you know that's a Paul Simon thing that I don't know if it's originally him, but he talks a lot about his songwriting process, and I always loved Paul's writing. And he talks about how he's a melodic songwriter. And he frequently writes from the melody, and then he creates everything else around it. So I love that technique.
The older I've gotten, the more I never used to write like that. It was always, I used to play all the time with my cousin, and he was more of like he would always come up with these really cool melodies and stuff. And I was just like, okay, and I'd have to write it after the fact. But no, it's changed a lot.
So this last comment has put about a million questions in my head about songwriting. So melodies in your head all the time, I get that. Are you not worried that the melody in your head comes from some place, some song you like from 5 years ago, and you get halfway down the song, or even publish the song, and you don't realize subconsciously it's very close to another song that you heard 5 years ago? Because I hear artists talk about this all the time, that they'll get pretty deep into the songwriting, and then somebody will come in, a sound engineer or a hired guitar player, like, oh yeah, that's an Ed Sheeran song from 5 years ago, and they're like, oh, I didn't even realize.
Well, even
that.
Ed Sheeran, he
I know,
does that. Let's Get It On. It's
yeah.
like the same song, and the Tom Petty one. Like, so it's more.
You don't worry about that.
So one, I'm one of those people that like, if I hear a song once, I'll remember like the structure of it and kind of thing. And so like a lot of times if I write something pretty soon in the process, and pretty early in the process, I'll be like, okay, that reminds me of this. Got to change things up.
Wow.
But
so you're a savant.
But then other people, I'll play. That's why I post usually the day I write stuff.
Right.
And it makes
That's
it
fun.
that more
cool.
organic, and it may change and move in a different direction
But
later
it
on.
forces some style of like,
and it's more emotional
here's it.
because you're writing it for
So
right
you don't
then.
get a tune
That's
stuck
great.
in your head and it's like, what is the name of that song? Or what
I
is...
mean,
You
I'll
don't
know the
suffer from
tune
that?
though in my head. I'll know
Yeah.
it's a song already. Does that make sense? Like I may not remember what the song is until like 2 a.m. when I shoot up and I'm like, Gym Class Heroes or whatever it is. But like, yeah. But as far as melody, like I'll remember that it's a song or something. But my friends help me with that. They're like, oh, I like that, but it kind of sounds like a Stevie Nicks. And I'm like, oh, okay, I need to change this.
Yeah. Again, we are talking with Fallon Franklin, who lives in you office and work out of Buda, Texas. Is that right? Just right down the road from
Not too far.
Wembley, but she plays in Fredericksburg and Wembley and Buda.
Houston,
And
Dallas.
do you
Antonio,
list
all over.
if we go to your website and or Facebook, do you list upcoming shows? How do people look you up and say, all right, I'm going to go Tuesday next week to this or that place?
To be honest, the best way to do it.
I prefer you lie.
Oh, okay.
You said to be honest. No, I'm just kidding. Yes.
At that. The website's great, but if you're on my Facebook page, I have a Fallon fan page on Facebook, and every week I post where I'm going to be that week. That way you don't have to drag through and like look, through past shows and
That's
upcoming
great. It
shows.
keeps it present too.
Yeah.
And it keeps you interacting with your social media.
Yeah, and I do it on Instagram too, where once a week I post like on Wednesday, like I'll post where I'm going to be for the week.
That's
So.
perfect.
So back to the writing process. Tell many people how many albums out. Are albums still a thing, or
I say albums, but I also don't have an iPad, so
yeah. So how
great.
many what, I don't even know how to structure the question. How many albums,
Do you have?
records, songs have you put out?
studio records I've got
Yes.
7.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I've got 7 studio records, and then songs. Oh my God, way too many.
That's countless.
But
Yeah, so I said we may ask some questions right on here. Through my 5 minutes of research last night on your, looking at your YouTube, I saw that you were on America's Got Talent, which
well,
I
here we
did
go.
not know
Really?
about you. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't know that. I don't watch the show, that's why.
fine.
What do you remember? Because it was a while back,
It
I
was
think.
2007.
Yeah, what do you remember about that experience?
Everything.
Everything.
I still have nightmares about it. It's like
Oh, yeah.
PTSD
Was it
from reality
nightmares?
TV. Oh yeah, it was
I
just
have
not my
met
thing.
several people who've been on that show, but I've never spoken with them at a length. Was it nightmares because it was scary and nervous, or was there another reason?
Nervous, and then they're pushing you so like you're playing music until like 3 a.m. and they tell you to have a call at like 5, and like they try to create drama, so you're always just like if you
They
watch one of
intentionally, like, that person said something about you over
yeah,
there?
oh, they try to pit
Oh.
everyone like, so who's your enemy in the show? And I'm like, nobody. Everyone was really cool. And they're
That's
like,
really nice.
no, we need
See,
to say this.
that is the heart of why I don't like those
Yeah.
shows.
Oh,
That's
it's all
nonsense.
drama. And then
Yeah.
they said my guitar didn't work. And they were like, we're not getting any guitar. You need to fix it. I'm like, what do you mean I need to fix it? Like, it's fine.
Were you
It
like
worked.
on stage at the time?
Yeah,
Oh,
right before I went on.
gosh.
So they had me sticking my hand in my guitar, trying to fix my own guitar. And
Did it work
Then they said
once it was ready?
nothing was wrong with it.
Yeah.
And so then they had me go out there, and then my guitar was out of tune because they said we don't have time for you to tune. And I'm just like,
Oh, God.
well, I just stuck my hand in my guitar. Like, what do you-
Yeah.
so like stuff like that, like they literally make it to where it's TV. I was
Yeah.
not made for TV.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, there was just some interesting stories. It was definitely a life experience. I'm glad I did it. It was awesome. But
Yeah.
That's too
And,
bad. Searching for the drama, which certainly doesn't surprise me.
all the drama was
inside.
after, like during the show, not on the show. You know,
Right.
like there was some weird stuff.
Really?
Yeah,
Right.
David
and,
Hasselhoff.
And the judges, you only get a few minutes in front of, right?
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
as far as
yeah.
personally, but like
Yes.
you're with them all day long. Like, because they're recording at the same time. I mean, it takes all day long to make like, one episode or whatever.
Did you have any conversations with Simon Cowell directly, or?
Just one like passing. He was
Yeah.
always really nice. Sharon Osbourne, I loved her. Hello, darling. Like she was just great. Like her little voice. She was like, "You've got the beautiful blonde hair." And, like, she was so cute. And then she always had her dogs with her, and they would have tea. And so a lot of the producers on that show were British, and so there was always tea time. So we'd have to take breaks during tea time. And but yeah, David Hasselhoff was.
All right, last question about America's Got Talent. So, is there any producers you want to call out by name that put you through the drama intentionally?
No, let's not make more drama.
No, y'all
on
don't
the
need to
drama,
get sued.
please.
Yeah.
Please, moving forward.
Awesome. Well, let's speaking of moving forward, let's move forward. So, we asked you, and you kindly said yes to performing the song.
Yeah.
And you have picked. Tell us what song you've picked and why you've chosen that one.
I wrote a song about, I guess, 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and it seems to be people
it's-
tend to
real
like
fresh.
it. Yeah, really
Yeah.
fresh.
I love
it's an
What is the
infant.
title of the song and what's
Aaron?
it about?
It's called Aaron.
Aaron,
Can we
can you
guess
spell
what
it
it's about?
for me?
I guess ERIN.
Yeah, so I was like, is it AA? Is it ERI?
Well, I've got a bunch. It's funny, like in my life, I've had so many friends that are named Jessica. and so many friends named John and so many friends named Aaron. Like, it's like, that's my landscape of friends for some reason. So I've got like 4 or 5 friends named Aaron. They're all like, this isn't about me, is it? I'm like, no, it's not about you.
It's like
Micah talks about this
it's a
too.
combination of all.
Yes, yes. It's
But if you
totally
write
a
a song
combination.
even without
I was
somebody's
gonna
name,
ask, and I was
if you
curious,
write a
yeah.
song about somebody's name in it, even if you write a song about a relationship and it's got nobody's name in it, do you have people to come up to you and say, "Hey, is that about me?"
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. For
And
sure. If they're close to me and they know that, yeah. But most of my songs are, I may put other people in songs, but most of my songs are really personal.
Right.
And so, like, I'll write a song, but then I'm like, okay, I can't rhyme it with this because, 1, I don't want to call somebody out on their what. And 2, their name doesn't rhyme with anything, so I'll put a name, but it's mostly about
part
me.
of the beauty of music and writing personal music is that oftentimes the songs are universal that we all can relate to. Mm-hmm. And so I find it odd that people would think it's about them. Because if you're writing a song about a breakup, we've all been through a breakup, and unless it's that guy, specifically, why would well, maybe that's too specific of a thing, but my point is,
it depends on the kind of writer you are. If you're like, oh, I was hurt and blah blah blah, then it's relatable to everybody. But if you're like, this happened during this time, and you mention it in the song, everyone's like,
like very, very specific.
Yeah,
moments.
if you put anything specific in there, they're
so
gonna.
I would love. Okay, this has come up with a whole new thing. Since I would love to ask, since you're a performer, songwriter, and a woman. So we talk a lot about Taylor Swift on our collective shows, and one of the topics I'm always fascinated with is John Mayer and one other artist said, we wish that Taylor wasn't so specific about her breakup songs because she will name the people by name in song, or she'll describe them in a very particular way.
It's vague.
That you know who it is. How do you feel about Taylor Swift specifically? Sorry to put you on the spot, Fallon.
No.
How do you feel about her being so specific about?
I say go for it. My deal is there's
you
always
just
been
said
a running
you
joke.
wouldn't do that though.
Do I?
You wouldn't do that. I thought I heard you just say.
I've done it before.
Okay.
Yeah, but not as much now. But like, because I'm more cognizant of that. But like, whenever I've had friends come up to me and. There's a running joke of my friends are always like, well, if you don't want to be in her song, don't make her mad. And, or don't hurt her or don't be a jerk. You know what I mean?
Right,
and you won't end up in a bad song. You'll have a good song written about you. So I think, it's art. So it's.
It feels like I'd be nervous. It feels like a really good power move by Taylor. Well done. She's looking into the future of those relationships going around, and she's prefacing like, "Hey, be nice to me, otherwise I'll put you badly."
But at the same time, though, when you're at that caliber, like with the Jake Gyllenhaal thing, you have to know that as soon as this 12-minute video is released, where you're wearing the same clothes, there's a guy that looks like him, that it's going to be fallout for that guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you have to be more cognizant at that point in your career, but like when I do stuff, no one's really.
Do you feel like you write about when you write a song? Is it ever that you have one thing in mind and one topic, or do you find that you typically pull from moments and situations that kind of spread across the board?
Probably the second. Yeah, I don't write with an intention of, if that's what you're asking, like an intention of like, I'm going to write a song about this today. It's more of it just comes to me and that's what comes out.
Cool. Yeah. And I'm just curious, like, I guess a lot of times when I write or I talk to other writers, it's always like, I had this one idea, but then I kind of pulled from like 5 other experiences and relationships. It's kind of rare that like one experience becomes one song.
And if those are the kind of songs I feel that like happen in 5 minutes.
Agree.
Yeah.
Like you have one idea and one topic and it just comes out fast.
It's literally a 5 or 10. Like if it's because you just have to exercise it out of you and get it out of you. But most songs are a pool of different.
They stem from different ideas and different topics. I think I hear a lot of people too, and with songwriters as well. It's so personal that sometimes it can be a little difficult with family and family members and friends and stuff because everybody tends to take it personal and it really isn't typically about them. Yes, a very small line might be a little bit, but the second part isn't.
Yeah, for the most part, there's pulls from a lot of different things. But as far as, if you have a situation with a family member or something that's super close and like still sore, then it can make them mad. And
it can be too much for sure. Well, we're going to do something really fun. We're going to go ahead and have you play one of your original songs. So which song are you going to play for us today?
I'm going to do the Aaron song.
Crouton is definitely
Crouton's ready to rock.
Crouton is
ready to sing.
Crouton is ready to do this for sure. You're gonna do the Aaron song, fantastic. Well, we're gonna set you up and we'll get it going, and then we're gonna play it here live on 90.